I want to know the truth. Are you okay with Gazans being sent here? It's amazing how we're wanting to deport certain people. We feel like we're being overtaken by certain groups, so then we deport them. We pay all this money to deport them, but then all of a sudden we start taking in Gazans. At the same time, when Saudi Arabia, Jordan, other places right next to the Palestine area is not taking them in. Why are we taking them in? Now, most people are saying, no, we're not. Well, that's untrue. We're going to talk about two places, St. Louis and San Francisco, and more areas that are now accepting Palestinians. This is not what we, I think, need. Now, we're talking about that. What about other infiltration? You will be blown away at the number of properties sold to Chinese nationalists from California in the Palisades fire. Burned down. We can't get permits for Americans to build, but guess what? It's overwhelming. Wait till you hear this statistic of how many properties have sold to Chinese nationalists. I want to ask you this now. Are you okay with a major area sold to where they have a major influence in that area? Wait till you hear the number that has bought property in California. It will blow your mind. And then we're going to talk about the Trump-Putin situation. We're going to talk about what Putin just said about Trump being elected president. It actually is mind-blowing. It actually shut the internet down because people went crazy over it. Leftists went crazy over it. Republicans were happy about it. Ultimately, it was amazing. And did you see Trump's walk? It was like a stagger, almost like a zigzag. Now, the left is going crazy about it, saying that he's unfit. But there's a new story that shows why he may be walking like he's walking. We'll discuss that and show you the images. Let's dive into today's stories. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to our channel, thank you. We humbly thank you. We ask that you subscribe if you like the content. Give us a thumbs up. It means the world to us. Now remember our other channel, Life with Colby Mack. We have vlogging, kind of daily routines of what we show on the farm, how we're building our son's house, how we're trying to live sustainable and have common sense. So please go check that channel out. Also, it helps us over there, and you're entered into a giveaway the same way you're entered into a giveaway here. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel and give us a thumbs up. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's jump into the stories of the infiltration of our country. It's something that we should be very scared of. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm against the southern border being flooded. I'm against the illegals coming in. You know, the 11, 12 million, however many it was. Some people say 2 million, some people say 30 million. Ultimately, let's say 10 to 12 million people. We're starting to deport. We're starting to round up. We've spent all this money for ICE to have all this access to funds to do what they need to do. Now, that's good. It's great. Absolutely. But what's not good? Well, there's new stories Laura Loomer just dropped about how San Francisco just opened up flights. Qatari Airlines were bringing in Palestinians and Gazans from that area to America. Now, wouldn't you think it'd be just easier just to open the wall and let them into Egypt? Egypt is a huge country. I mean, half of the desert area has no one living in it. Wouldn't you think that would be easier? Wouldn't you think it'd be easier to go right into Jordan? They could just walk straight across. Safe passage. Wouldn't you think it'd be easier for the Qatar people and Saudi Arabia and all these other Middle Eastern countries that help assimilate these Gazans? Wouldn't you think it'd be easier for them to go there? No, it shows that they don't want them either. Sadly, I'm sorry, but we shouldn't be getting flights. Look at this video right here. Now that's video footage of Gazans being flown here at the same time we're trying to deport and get rid of people who are causing damage to our country. These people are not assimilating to our country. Why are we giving them free status? Do you realize we have to pay for them, right? Your tax dollars are paying for them. So why is the Secretary of State and the Department of Justice allowing these two things to happen? Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security, what are we doing? Why are we giving safe passage? St. Louis had the same situation. Why are we doing this? I want you to listen to this journalist. This should be throwing up major red flags. The DHS is letting the people come in that are sponsored, quote unquote sponsored. And what's so crazy is most of these people I think it was like 87, 88% of Gazans and Palestinians vote in support of Hamas, a terrorist group. So why are we letting them in? Now, I'm all for getting rid of illegal immigrants that are coming here. But to be honest with you, most of them, they are workers. They are doing something. And here we are trying to get rid of them, which we should because they broke the law coming in. But why are we allowing now for people who don't assimilate, who are nothing like our culture, to come in when their own countrymen won't take them in? This is from Laura Loomer. It says, several U.S. senators and members of Congress are texting me in disbelief over the exposed today. They are furious that planes filled with Gazans are heading and arriving to the U.S. cities all across the country. This is happening in several countries. St. Louis, San Francisco, several other states, including New York City. A lot of them were trying to hide it. Very shameful. Someone at the State Department gave these Islamic invaders visas. This is from Laura Loomer. It says, my guess, whoever it is bitter at the situation with Trump. Now you tell me who gave them passes. Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security, Marco Rubio. These two people need to talk about their offices allowing for this to happen. This is from Vivid. It says a plane full of Gazans arrived in the U.S. through Qatar Airways a few days ago in San Francisco. And you're telling me they tried to do it secret and no one knew about it. I don't know about you, but I don't think that we voted for this. You know what else we didn't vote for? Listen to what's happening in California, because this is just another way of complete and utter infiltration into our country. Listen to this number. Of all the property that has been burned and not been able to rebuild on in the Palisades area and the Aladina area, listen to this. Over 28% of the Palisades fire destroyed property now has been bought by Chinese investors. Do you get what I just said? 1/4. Over 1/4 of American area has been purchased by Chinese. Now, we're trying to get rid of Latino and Haitian and third world country immigrants that shouldn't be here legally, that came in illegally. And now we are giving passes to Chinese billionaires who are tied to the Chinese party. 1/4 of our area in California, some of the richest, finest quality land, period, and you're wanting to sell them to the Chinese investors. And at the same time, our cities are being infiltrated by people who are not assimilated in the Muslim culture, who support terrorists with Hamas. And not only that, their own countries that have Muslims next to them will not accept them. Why are we doing this? Do we really want to ruin our country? Do we really want to ruin our country? I thought yesterday was a good sign of peace negotiations with Russia. Now, will peace come out of it? I don't know. But to be honest with you, I thought it showed power. I thought it showed strength. I thought it showed solidarity. I thought it showed, we don't want nuclear war. I thought it showed, like all these bombers lined up, a foreign dignitary having to come to our location, the stealth flyers flying over. It looked patriotic. It looked strong. It looked like, hey, we're trying to show peace, but at the same time, we have strength and leverage. And then we allow for our country to be infiltrated. Truly, it's unbelievable. So my thought as a prepper, as someone who tries to live sustainable, I don't want to be in cities, for one thing. But you got to remember, your tax dollars are going to pay for this. They're going to get your foods. They're going to be in your areas, especially in these cities. You're already ran by liberal ideology. And a conservative leader let these people in. That's setting up for our cities to fall more in unrest. The more people you pack into these areas, the more dangerous it becomes. And the more dangerous it becomes, the more civil unrest it happens. The more civil unrest happens, the more it leaves for opportunity for government's regulation. Now again, I was all for federalizing DC. I told you that. I explained why, because they don't have a state. Makes no sense of how the government is not over DC like it used to be. But when you talk about the cities, if the cities fall into unrest because of no assimilation, because of a melting pot that's not really melting pot, it's just a bunch of people thrown into a city in a very tight spot that don't agree on policy, you're going to cause for unrest, which will cause for government overreach. I just think this is setting up for a bad policy and bad precedent, especially the Chinese immigrants. That's even worse, that we're allowing them to buy 1/4, over 1/4, actually, close to 1/3 of the property that Americans can't seem to afford anymore, but they can. Now let's move on to what happened with the Russia and the agreements yesterday. It's kind of really what I wanted to focus on. There's two things I want to bring up. This is from Vladimir Putin. This is a quote from him. It doesn't matter if you like the guy or not, but I thought this was a huge quote. Vladimir Putin is making Democrats absolutely furious because he said this. Listen to this. This is a direct quote. When President Trump says that if he was president back then, there would be no war. He said, this would be indeed so. I can confirm that. So basically, he literally said what Trump has been saying, that this was a Biden kerfuffle. It was his mistake. That there would have been no disagreement, no war, because ultimately we wouldn't have saw NATO's pressure. We wouldn't have Kamala yapping off. We wouldn't have Biden saying, oh, just go ahead and go in, and then we will fund all this. There was none of that. He literally just said, if President Trump, like he states, was still in office when this happened, he said this wouldn't have happened. The war would have never taken place. Think how many countless, they said probably upwards of 1 million people have died. Like a few 100,000 on each side have died in displacement, and the fact that we have now, cities in rubble. Just think if that could have not happened. Think of the tax dollars. Think of our hundreds of billions of dollars that could have been used to help us in America. But no, it was given to a foreign country that was not even an ally to defend against someone who now says that we were never really at war with you guys. We just told you to stay away from coming to our close proximity, which is what NATO did. Now, I'm not taking up for Russia and I'm not taking up for NATO. I'm just saying if we really wanted peace, he just told you exactly what it took to have peace. Just leave us alone. We could have been adversaries, we could have been trade partners. If Trump was president, it would have never happened. I thought that was probably the biggest thing of yesterday. Will peace happen? Hopefully. But to hear Putin say that, and for Putin to come to America, to American soil, not a second in command, not a third in command, but the leader of a foreign country flying over. You got to think about this way too. It took Trump like 7 or 8 hours one way. It took Putin like 9 or 10 hours one way. These are two leaders that don't have really time to sit and have a photo op. And to be honest with you, not only just a photo op, but to kind of waste time on something that doesn't matter. I think they knew that this meeting was a big meeting. Even if it's not peace right now, I think they know that this is the only way forward is to work together against the AI threats with China. And I actually think they know that they have the power because they have the fuel, they have the access to the goods. Now China is going to overpass both of us if we're not careful, because they're utilizing the trade problems with us and the fuel buy from Russia. I think the best case scenario would be Russia and America get along. You don't have to love each other. We don't have to sing Kumbaya, but we do need to get along so that way we can work together. What happened in World War II? We worked together. Do I want to go back to World War II? No, but what I'm trying to say is it's better when we're friends and at least talking companions and have diplomacy versus being complete and utter in disagreement. Honestly, what has NATO and the European Union done for America compared to what Russia's relationship could do with us, especially keeping us safe even in Alaska? Now, what I don't want to see is the uptick in escalation from the NATO and EU side and also Ukraine. They did that the day before. Now let's see what they do and if Trump can tone them down. If Trump cannot tone them down, like I told you yesterday, I think leverage should be is we're pulling all funding from Ukraine, period. No more funding for anything. No stopgaps, no loans, no nothing. We're done. And then with Europe, we're saying, look, NATO is no more. I will not fund it until you stop provoking this war. Those two things I think would stop it and make for peace. And ultimately, like Hillary Clinton said yesterday, she would be the one to nominate Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. That's truly how Trump can do this. Pull funding, stop paying to NATO, and let them know they will not have an ally unless they stop this war. Especially whatever he worked out with Putin on the other end. The last story I want to bring up, I want to show you this video. Because there's been a lot of naysayers about this video with Trump and his walking capabilities. Now, this man has worked over, they said, 18 hours yesterday between flying and then getting back at 3 a.m. and going right back to work through Air Force One. Now, that's a lot for a 79-year-old man. That's a lot for anybody. I want you to watch this walking right here. Now the reason I want to bring that up is not because I think there's anything wrong with this. There's two sayings with this. The Democrats are saying, well, he's just weak. I mean, the poor man can't walk straight line. He needs to be out of power. Now it's funny because Biden couldn't, walk upstairs or couldn't stay in a straight path and fell over his bike. I mean, it's way worse. I don't even know why they're even using that. But what they're saying is he's walking like that because he's struggling. He's not as strong as he once was. He's too old. Now, I think they hate J.D. Vance worse than Trump, so I think J.D. Vance actually helps keep Trump in, by the way, but I digress. But here's the thing. There was another story done, and this was actually done by a journalist, and he said the reason he walks like that is because it helps him not have an attempt on his life like it has been before. They said a lot of times if people are moving in different pathways in different areas, especially for a long range, you don't predict his stepping. You don't predict where he's going to be next. So he said he walks in this pattern for that reason. Now, is there any truth to that? I don't know. But I don't think it was because he was tired. I thought it was very unique, though, that the Democrats tried to hone in on that one thing when really they had a president for 4 years that had been slipping, like mind-wise and walking-wise. It just wasn't a good look for the Democrats. Now, to be honest with you, it could have been just something that's just an honest, just simply walking. He realized he was not on this taped mark and had to go scoot over so Vladimir Putin could stand before him on the red carpet and take pictures. It could be something so simple and innocent. The point of why I'm bringing this up, though, is this. We are going to be scrutinized, and our leaders are going to be scrutinized at every little turn, especially when they're pushing against the narrative. Now, for the people that are part of the establishment and following along with the way the water flows, they can do whatever they want and get away with it. However, one misstep by someone on our side, one misstep by a conservative, one misstep by someone who's pushing back will be over-scrutinized. Now the thing is this too. Yesterday there was tons of AI videos trending of, Russia and Trump and Putin and Trump, holding hands and hugging it out, and then there was ones of them fighting. Truth be told, you're going to see a lot of footage and hear a lot of things. But no one really knows. The best thing to do is for us to just shut up and listen and quit looking foolish and hope for the best. It benefits all of us to not have nuclear war in World War III. You do realize that, right? So honestly, Trump's first command should be Ukraine, Europe, stop. At the same time, Russia, we talked about this, stop. If we have peace, this can only be beneficial for the whole world. Now let's bring it back home. The real problem isn't Russia, Ukraine for us. The real problem is we just allowed China to buy more land. The real problem is we allowed these flights from Qatar Airlines. That is the problems. Do I think ICE is doing a great job? Great, they look like they've handled DC. People can actually walk around, they said, past 8 p.m. Now, let's start allowing for people not to infiltrate our country. Because while Trump was over there, there's people infiltrating our country. While our focus was over there, there's people causing havoc here. If I lived in California and this area was getting bought up by Chinese nationalists, I would be a little concerned. If I lived in St. Louis where another plane came in, I'd be a little concerned. If I lived in New York City where they're fixing to have a Muslim leader and there's more flying in, I would be concerned. Did you hear the Ohio Somalian that is part of office in Ohio? His goal is to bring his culture more into America, to look out for the Somalis. And this wasn't Michigan. This wasn't Minnesota. This is Ohio. Slowly and surely, if we allow for more people to come into our country and not assimilate and to bring their values and their vision for America, we will see America fall like we have a lot of other European countries. We don't need that. I want Trump to have peace across the world, but truly, I want peace here. I want America First policy. I want that to be first and foremost. Is that prideful? Is that arrogant? Is that selfish? Is that narcissistic? Maybe. But as an American, I believe we deserve that right. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.